Hello, I'm Samuel. I'm from Dreamdata. I'm an account executive here. Have been here a total of 5 years. Started in marketing, have pivoted over to the dark side, to sales. But what we're going to be going through today is something that I know that all B2B paid marketers would absolutely love to see. So right now, reporting on paid media is going into 6, 7 different ad platforms, different sources, fetching data manually, uploading that into Excel or whatever your tool is, and then fetching data from your CRM and trying to tie that together into some kind of coherent, what did that pipeline produce? And it's a bit of a mess because you have to do this on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, right? Um, and that's where we're going to come in, right? So at Dreamdata, we connect directly into your CRM, but also your entire tech stack and your website. So we're able to map the very best B2B customer journey out there from first touch to closed one. We handle all the data, the cleaning, the deduplication, so that you can just focus on building very simple, straightforward, and easy to use reports right away from connecting. So today, what we're going to be doing is live. We're going to be building a dashboard that is going to answer two questions, right? One is going to be, where is our budget going? And the second is, what is that budget resulting in terms of pipeline and revenue, not just leads. So just going to move myself out of the way here. I'm actually going to go to the right. And so we're going to head over into our new Analytics Hub, which is currently in beta at the time of this recording, but should probably be out when you're seeing this. And firstly, we're going to create two reports. So we're going to start off by creating one report, which is going to be looking at our ad spend. Now, once we just created a report, you can see that we're met with the template gallery. And so here we have some templated out-of-the-box reports that you can configure to your liking. This is a good place to start if you don't want to build from scratch and you just want to use some of these very successful reports that we also have out on the left. But you do have the option to create completely custom reports from scratch as well. But again, for today, we're going to focus on these two questions. And so we're going to use the ad spend summary report. Use that template, which is going to help us see over a set time period, how much are we spending across the different ad platforms over time. And so firstly, on the configurator here on the left, I want to change the timing. So I want to look back over a period of the last 6 months because that's what I'm essentially reporting on a monthly basis. And I can choose to aggregate this on a level that I see fit, right? So in this case, I'm going to aggregate it by month. And then on the KPIs level, everything has already been selected that's relevant. So I'm okay with keeping all of these as some reporting. I can then choose to filter it by a specific channel or spend type if I want to drill down into one specific channel or source. But for now, we'll just leave that empty. And then the segmentation would be that, grouping it by the different sources. So that would be LinkedIn, Google, Meta. But let's say I actually also want to add one further layer, which is going to look at the channel level. Like let's say it's differentiating Google display ads versus search ads. So once I've kind of configured the report to my liking, I can hit apply and it will be updated on the right almost instantaneously. And so you'll see here on the top, the metrics that you've selected are being displayed in totals and averages. And then you will also have some tables and graphs that showcase the report. These are fully configurable, right? So if I wanted to see the click-through rate over time or the cost per mil over time, any of these metrics at the top here, I'm able to also display those in a visual format. For now, let's keep it on cost. And actually, I also prefer to have a group bar chart as a nicer perspective on it. So I can see that, okay, LinkedIn is by far our most spending channel. If I remove LinkedIn very quickly, I can also see across the different ad platforms what we're spending on. Also in a table format where we also are seeing what channel they're coming from. So I can hit save, give this a name. That could be, funnily enough, the actual report, ad spend last 6 months. And then once I hit save, it'll appear out on the main menu here. And your save report, you can also categorize into the different folders that you can create. Now we've answered the first question, right? Where's our budget going? Now we want to answer the second and arguably the most important question, which is what is that budget going in terms of pipeline and revenue? What channels, sources, campaigns are best performing? And so here we're going to use another template. Funnily enough, the paid ads performance and ROAS. So we're going to use this template, and it's going to be the exact kind of same setup as before, where we're going to be met with a configurator. I'm going to select the same time frame as the other report because we're going to be combining these two in just a while. And then the metrics are pre-applied. I'm just going to remove some that I don't necessarily need. But right now we've only selected the MQL. I also want the, actually I don't need the ROI for this for now, but I also want the SQLs as well as also the new business, both on an influence level, but also an attributed level. If I would like to drill down specifically into a source or campaign and see that performance, I can do so here by filtering. But again, we want to keep this open. And then for the grouping, we'll keep it at paid source, but then we will also go a level deeper and group it by campaign level. And for the attribution model, we will use our AI baked in data-driven model, which is also the one that nearly all of our customers are using on a daily basis. So once I hit apply here, I can then see those changes reflected. So we can see our metrics chosen at the top. We have a chart here that, again, if I want it into a bar chart, I can change so, and I can change it to match the metrics that I've selected above here. We also have these table formats, and then lastly, we also grouped it by campaign down here. So we can see out of which campaigns that we ran, which ones actually generated the most pipeline. These columns can also be moved around. So if you want to move things around, you can do so quite simply by clicking and dragging. You might have noticed that there are these blue numbers as well. What this means is that you are able to go in and drill down into each kind of SQL in this case that was influenced by this paid search ad. So if I click on this, I will then be shown these are the 192 sales qualified leads that were influenced by this ad. I can click specifically on each of these and be taken to their own unique customer journey. But this proves that our data is not a black box, and it allows you to bring defensible numbers whenever you're presenting them, right? You're always going to be able to drill down and see what journey was that and where did that number come from. So now I have my report how I want it, give it a name. Again, here this can be like ROAS, last 6 months, and then hit save. Now we're going to combine these two reports that we just built together. So now we're going to be using a dashboard. And a dashboard is kind of a blank canvas. We can start off by giving it a name. So that can be like your paid performance overview last 6 months, just for vanity. And then we're going to add a widget. And we're going to begin by adding a text widget just for the sake of making things look a little pretty and organized, because we are marketing people after all. And so here we're going to say ad cost last 6 months, because I want to view the ad cost to begin with. And then right under this, I'm going to add in some of these widgets from the reports that we just built. So firstly, I want to add in from the report ad spend last 6 months. I want to add in some of these metrics at the top. Then I also want a chart. They're then going to be fetched directly in, instantly load up here. And so you can see over the last 6 months, this is what we spent. Again, I maybe like the group bar chart for this. And these are the different sources that we spent it on. These are similar to the other report. You're fully interactable and you can change them. And let's say I wanted this one to be at top, I can move that to be on top as well. I also want another chart, right, that looks at cost per click. So I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to move it right next to it. And I'm going to select this one to look at cost per click. And now I'm going to show some love to the line chart. I'm also just going to rename this one to be cost per click. So now we can see our total ad cost, as well as keep an eye on the cost per click over time. So everything is rising. Not good. Underneath this, we're going to go a layer deeper, right? So now we're going to start looking at the pipeline generated last 6 months. So you probably are guessing where this is going, but now we're going to be looking into the second report, answering the second question of, well, now I know what we're spending, but actually I want to see also, what did that spend mean in terms of pipeline? So we're going to add on these pipeline metrics that we have. Like so, and actually I think I added too many, but we can just showcase how easy it is to move some. So actually I don't want the values, so I'm just going to remove the values. Again, if I can do this as a salesperson, imagine what a competent marketer can do here. All right, so now we have our pipeline metrics at the top here, MQLs, both an influenced and attributed level. And then also we have our SQLs influenced, we're missing the attributed one, and then a new biz. So I'll just find the attributed SQL, that's here. Move that over there. All right, very good. And then we have our chart underneath. But I have an idea of how I want to set this up. So I want to duplicate these twice because I want a chart for each individual stage, right? So this one, I wanted to look at, well, nice knowing the total MQLs, right? But I want to know, where did those MQLs come from in a group bar chart? Same with this. Here I want to know, where did our SQLs come from in a group bar chart? And you guessed it, same thing here on a new biz level in a group bar chart. So this one I'll just rename because it didn't update the name. So now we kind of have a full view across our entire pipeline, what we spent on it, but also what that meant in terms of generation of MQLs, SQLs, new business. I can hit save, give this a name, and then it will appear on the dashboard. Now, any of these metrics and numbers that you're showing, you are able to drill into what report did it come from. And if you make changes in that report, so if I click view report, we'll be taken to the ROAS report that we just created. And if I make any changes here in the configurator, like the date range, and then I hit save, then it will prompt me and say, hey, hold on, like if I update this, there is a dashboard that's using it, like, that will change then what that dashboard shows. So these changes will ripple through. But yeah, really exciting stuff. That was all I had to show you today, so I hope you enjoyed it. Essentially, this is answering the two most common questions that we hear, right? Where's our spend going, and what's that spend producing? And this is one view you can go into on a weekly, daily, monthly, whatever basis, and create it exactly what you need to see. Thanks very much, and yeah, hope to see you on Dreamdata.